Okay, everyone. Controversial pop star, pop culture icon Hulk Hogan has passed away. And we have a debate on CNN about his complicated past. People have comments, people have concerns, people have issues. Let's watch and we will dig into it.
You think that's fair?
I think it's very fair. Listen, people have complicated legacies. Everybody has done something. That doesn't mean that it needs to be the headline. But I think it's a little different with Hulk Hogan. Like a lot of young people of a certain time, I was a Hulkamaniac. I loved Hulk Hogan. I used to practice the leg drop in my living room. Like I was a really big fan. And so the level of disappointment and disgust that I felt hearing him not just use the N-word repeatedly, but showing a particular disgust for black people. I think it's fair to bring that up. It's fair that there are certain people that look at him dying and say, well, wait a minute. It's kind of like when the Queen died. There were a lot of people who brought up, sort of what was her role in the colonization of Africa. And I think that's fair. Like, we can't look at these legacies and feel like just because somebody's died that we're obligated to only remember the positive things. Sometimes they do character defining things in the process of that legacy that deserve examination, scrutiny. And if some people prefer not to remember him fondly, I think it's their right.
Yes, okay, so if you're not familiar with some of these controversies, here are a few of them. He apologized for a racial slur after the WWE dropped him from his contract. He had a race rant over his daughter dating a black man. Jesse Ventura said that Hulk Hogan ratted him out when he tried to unionize wrestling, and Hulk Hogan proves Trump world can't resist attacking Kamala Harris's racial identity.
So, a little bit of a backstory. A few years ago, maybe a decade and a half ago, Hulk Hogan's daughter was trying to get into the music industry. I think she even had a reality show. She was trying to be a pop star, and I think she was dating a black guy. And Hulk Hogan was caught on camera saying that he doesn't care if his daughter dates N words, and at least if she's gonna date an N word, make sure it's an 8 foot tall N word. So if she dates an N word, at least he's gonna be making money. But he said the N word several times, and he had a particular desire that if his daughter was gonna date an N word, at least he'd be 8 feet tall, assuming that he'd play basketball and be a millionaire. So that was kind of the main one. And then in the wrestling circles, I'm a wrestling head. In the wrestling circles, a lot of people reported, Jesse Ventura included, that Hulk Hogan did a lot of backstabbing. And as Hulk Hogan was aging and it was time to pass the torch to the next generation of wrestlers, Hulk Hogan would have a hard time, what they call putting them over. He wouldn't pass the torch. He'd want to hang on and still be popular and not send the popularity and the mantle of wrestling to the next generation. And then he had to apologize for it. And then, of course, a few months ago, he was at the Republican National Convention, I believe, saying that he was going to body slam Kamala Harris.
I can't believe I missed the one opportunity in my life to have a Hulkamania shirt underneath this and tear it off at this very moment right now. But that said, we all have complicated lives, and we've all said things and done things that we regret. That's universal, I think, to humanity. I think it is worth noting that his apology, and again, you don't know how sincere it was. I wasn't there when he wrote it. But his apology was sincere in the sense that he took ownership of the things he said. So I think that is sort of something worth noting as we're talking about his legacy and whether he's worth remembering. I remember him as a kid growing up in the 80s, always having a positive message, always having a great positive vibes for children and young adults. So I'm going to celebrate his legacy. I understand why people don't, but I do think it's important to remember that this is someone who took that step of taking ownership of the bad things he did.
I guess he didn't really have much of a choice,
right,
because some of it was in part of that lawsuit.
Yeah. But here's the thing about apologies and taking accountability. You do that for yourself. I don't have to accept it. You have to do it for you because you need to get that out of your spirit. That's the same way of like trying to kind of erase this from our memories. I don't have to do that. You choose to celebrate him. You would like to have on a Hulkamania shirt. I would like to never be have anything to do with Hulk Hogan in my life because of what Jamil said. I read the entire exchange where he was having about that boyfriend of his daughter. None of that. That wasn't like kind. He wasn't using the N-word in some sort of jovial way. It was really derogatory, not just about him, but about all black people. He used the N-word with the S on it. All black people. Am I racist? He says at one point. Yes, I am, to a certain degree. F N-words. I'm done at that point. I'm checked out. You can wear as many shirts you want to. I don't want to sit next to you when you wear it. I'm checked out.
I mean, a positive message, but also all of that other stuff. First of all, I mean, a lot of people.
So just a quick comment here. It's interesting that with particular people, Hulk Hogan is not a person. Hulk Hogan is a character. Hulk Hogan is a reality TV star character. Wrestling is a TV show, and Hulk Hogan is a character on the TV show. But they're speaking about Hulk Hogan's real name is Terry. The real human being is Terry, but they don't even refer to him as that. That's like who's a popular movie? What's a popular thing? Like the guy who plays Harry Potter. If we just say, "Oh, Harry Potter this, Harry Potter that," no, there's a real person there. It's just interesting that people are not able to separate the two as a way to defend Hulk Hogan or Terry. Terry seems to have said some real bad stuff, seems to have been a racist, said some wild, controversial things, but they don't even refer to him as Terry. When you refer to him as Hulk Hogan, you can use the Hulk Hogan character to mask the behavior of Terry. It's just really interesting that nobody mentions his real name and says, we keep referring to this character. Harry Potter's not a real person. Spider-Man is not a real person. Robert Downey Jr., if he does something really bad, when he dies, they're not going to refer to him, oh, well, Iron Man is this, and Iron Man brought a lot of hope to kids. It's just really weird that they don't actually say his name and attribute his actions to his name, but instead attribute Hulk Hogan and use that as a way to cover his actions or as a way to soften the blow of his racism.
Might say, let's not even talk about this. He just passed away, what have you. But he's a public figure. I mean, do you think it's fair to bring this up?
You know, people are always going to bring things up like this, Abby, and you choose to either accept it and talk about it or you choose not to. There's no secret. I mean, humans are very complex people, and sometimes we make mistakes. Sometimes we say things that we wish we wouldn't have said, and we do apologize, or some people just don't apologize, and they move forward. They don't care. But I want to choose the legacy of Hulk, like you brought it up at the beginning. I mean, this icon, this wrestler who brought all these young individuals to wrestling, and now that he's passed, people are going to question it. For me, he's always going to be a legend. He's going to be the Hulkster, the Hulkamania, all that stuff. And Charles has his choice to be against that, and I respect you immensely for that, Charles. But for me, he's a legend. I want to celebrate him. I've had a lot of positive feedback in my social media on Hulkster, and may he rest in peace.
Can I just play? I thought this was interesting. This is an ESPN reporter who wrote a book about professional wrestling, and he framed it this way. I'm curious what you all think about this framing.
One of the things that's complicated about wrestling is, you know, where does the character end and the real person begin? You know, we're talking about a guy named Hulk Hogan. That wasn't his real name, as you mentioned at the top. It was Terry Bollea. So I would say that Terry Bollea probably made a lot of mistakes in his life, probably a lot of things that he probably regretted at the end. But Hulk Hogan as a character, there's no doubting the legacy of what he was able to do for the professional wrestling business.
It's not just him, right? There are plenty of people. There's Bill Cosby, the man, and then the character that he played. I mean, this is a common problem that we find ourselves in as a society with these people who are deeply flawed.
What is the sort of old adage you talk about, separating art from artists? I mean, there are plenty of musicians that have done horrible things and have exposed themselves as being horrible people. And we often grapple with, well, where does that leave me in terms of how I feel about the music? I mean, you know the name that comes to mind that I don't need to say.
R. Kelly, Michael Jackson.
Yes.
You could go on and on and on. I mean, there's even Ozzy Osbourne who died this week.
Correct. And even most recently, Puff Daddy. Right, where you're dealing with like what they might have meant to a time in your life versus the man or the person they expose themselves to be. As I said, like I think that this is the part about legacies that is pretty much universal. Like a lot of them are complicated. There are going to be very few people who pass away where we can say 100% that person was a stand-up person all the time. But there is a difference between mistakes and there's a difference between character. And I think what Hulk Hogan exposed to us was character, was a deep character flaw. Like, it would have been one thing if he mistakenly used the slur, but he doubled down in such a way that it leads me to believe that he did not even care for the existence of black folks. Like that was the difference. And that is why when you see him parading around the way that he was and being celebrated by the Republican Party, it just don't sit right. Like, that's not the same Hulk that I grew up with.
We have to leave it there. But thank you for that conversation. Next for us, the panel.
I mean, it is cut down the middle. The black people on the panel are more left leaning, and then the Latino guy sitting next to Jamel, and then the bald white guy. Those are Republicans. So because he has a complicated or a checkered past, they're gonna focus on Hulk Hogan and how he said, "Eat your vitamins and exercise and work out." And if you're not part of the Republican Party, you're more likely to look at Hulk Hogan as a racist, as somebody who said that he was going to body slam the first black female vice president, as somebody who was a backstabber, as somebody who wasn't a good colleague or a coworker. But it's just interesting how if you're on his side, you're not able to separate Hulk Hogan from the man. And if you're not on his side, it's very easy to see that. I think there's a bit of hypocrisy going on because we know that if this was, a celebrity who was openly against Donald Trump or openly against someone on the right, then the people on this panel who are supporting Hulk Hogan would not be supporting him. And in the beginning, the gentleman was saying that he missed his opportunity to wear a Hulk Hogan shirt. He didn't miss his opportunity. He could still wear it. It's a free country. I mean, there's a reason why he's choosing not to wear it. It's because he knows that he probably thinks that Hulk Hogan is a racist and he doesn't want to be seen as such. But he has to defend. So he has to just come on and say, well, I missed my opportunity and I'm choosing to remember the good things about him. I'm choosing not to remember the racist things about him. And there's a gradient because I'm sure there's a gradient and it depends on who you are. So some people, depending on their popularity or our perceived actions or our perceived thoughts about their good actions, they have a lot more leeway. Some people can say that they're going to grab women by the vagina. Some people can say that they could shoot somebody. Some people could uh, do sexual assault and rape. Some people could go to prison for sexual assault and rape and come out and still be ultra beloved. And other people can't do that. Um, So the complicated part about it is not the character. Hulk Hogan isn't complicated. Terry Bollea isn't complicated. Our view of celebrity in society, that's what's complicated. How come some people can do things 10 times worse than what Terry Bollea did and never be forgiven, and 10 times less than what Terry Bollea did and be forgiven? So the complication is not with the human being. The complication is with our collective thought and reaction and hypocrisy towards people that we find to be celebrities. It's an interesting topic. I'm a big wrestling head. Um, Within the wrestling world, everybody's honoring him. It's a sad day. That's like, within the Screen Actors Guild, if the person who plays, if Robert Downey Jr. passed away, then people are honoring Iron Man, the character. Um, so it is a little bit weird. He was definitely a very big, pivotal part of making the wrestling industry what it is today. He did bring a lot of joy to people, but there's a lot of people who've done a lot of bad things. We don't give them the benefit of the doubt, and those people brought a lot of joy to people as well. So something interesting to think about. Guys, comment, share, subscribe, like. I'm interested to see what you guys think. I appreciate the comments on the previous videos. If there's any topics or anything that you guys want me to dig into, let me know. But it's been fun, and we will keep pushing. Thanks.